started. It's on the hour. People are coming in. I'll do a little housekeeping while people still come in, and then we'll get started. Thank you very much for joining us today, our monthly webinar here at BroadSky. This month we chose talking about really protecting fiber circuits, or the latest high bandwidth circuits for clients that they have today with really the latest wireless technology here at BroadSky. I am joined by Bill Barker, our VP of Tech. My name's Maureen Donovan, VP of Sales at BroadSky. Been around a long time. Normally Tom Benson gives these, but every once in a while we allow him to take a little time off with his family. So that was today. So anyways, I'm very happy to be here, and thanks for joining us. As always, we will record this session. It will be sent to all the attendees, the recording, so you feel free to listen to it again, share with your team members. It will also be posted on our YouTube page. So there's all of our webinars are all posted on our YouTube page, so you can go back and listen to them. A lot of good information on there. And we try to keep them fairly short because we know everybody's busy, but really topics of interest. So a lot going on with BroadSky, very exciting. And now I'm going to get going here. So if you're not familiar with BroadSky, here. I know a lot of you are, but if you are not, so BroadSky is really, the channel's your single source for fully managed wireless solutions here in the US and Canada, and hopefully we'll be expanding for failover for primary internet, temporary internet, POTS replacement, and now IoT and AI. We have a long history in the channel and a long history in telecom, been around since 2003. Very engineering focused company offering multiple carriers, really to provide the best solution for each customer. So just recently at the end of 2020, we were acquired by Epic.io, which brought our sister company IntelliSite. And they are a leader in IoT, lifecycle heuristic-based monitoring, SCAS, or smart communities as a service solutions. Really one of the leaders in IoT and AI solutions. So very excited to bring that actually to all of our partners as well. We have been chalking up our awards with Inc. 5000 for the past 4 years, and to continue, and also have been an MSP 501 winner, just to do a little bragging. Our current headquarters is their same headquarters in Bend, Oregon. Our distribution is out of Fort Mills, which is where our parent company, or our sister company IntelliSite, is headquartered. So Epic.io is really an international technology focused holding company, and it brings us a lot of resources. We're still doing what we do. We still do wireless. We still make wireless work, but with a lot more exciting products and a lot more resources. So we're pretty excited about that. If anybody has any questions at all through the presentation, just put them in the chat function, and we'll answer those after the presentation. So just the agenda today. So protecting fiber circuits with really better and bonded wireless. What the agenda is to review really the growing demand for bandwidth and ultra fast internet. It's probably not a shock, but it's kind of shocking to look at the numbers. Why wireless for failover internet? We've been talking about this for a long time, and it really makes more sense now than it ever has. How to do an easy ROI for your clients is just looking at the high cost of internet downtime, and wireless failover for cable and fiber circuits, which what we're seeing is the growing bandwidth needs of clients, which you guys have answered to those customers, right? That they need more speed, but their failover, even if they're on wireless or if they're not, is a bit of an afterthought, and their failover needs to keep up. So we're going to have Bo talk about really 3 kind of advanced wireless technology options that BroadSky's offering that really makes our solution, we think, is the best solution for your clients. And 2, what this technology can do beyond failover. What other applications does it solve? And a very exciting 5G equipment update. So we will be the first to be rolling out 5G equipment. So yes, we've been saying for a long time, it's coming, it's coming. So 5G equipment is actually hitting the streets. So all really, really great stuff and exciting. So I'm going to go kind of quick so we can get through it and really have some good discussion at the end if you have any questions. So today's business demand, I mean, it's the amount of data that's required by companies now is pretty amazing. The growth pattern, as you can see, just from 5 years ago, is exorbitant. So this is actually in billions of gigabytes. So, which I think is a petabyte, but Bo could correct me. And so just from 2019, 89.65 billion gigabytes were needed by businesses to this year, or this year is 141. Next year, it's projected to be 178. So it's doubled. And by 2023, really in 4 years, the need by businesses will have tripled the amount of internet traffic. So pretty substantial. So what they is needed and what they require from that are faster speeds, really to run all their applications. So now businesses have really moved to fiber, 1 gig fiber circuits or 300 meg cable circuits, really to power the cloud applications. So what has driven this, business demand is, the cloud, and you've sold it. You sold it to your clients, all the cloud applications out there. You've done a great job because they're so efficient for their business and helps their business so much. But it also really enforces the need for a diverse path backup solution because the need to protect that primary circuit, to protect their applications to the cloud, their link to the cloud. So 90% of businesses use cloud applications today, 90%. 94% of workloads are running in the cloud. Very, very high percentages. So their reliance on connectivity is enormous. If they're down, their business is down and you can't run. So, and what businesses are looking for is really they're looking to the cloud for speed improvement. 70% say they really want to run them faster, more efficiently, for better customer experience. That is really what's so important, is for them to be more productive for their employees and to give a better customer experience to their clients. So, like I said, we've talked about failover many, many, many times. So that's not, anything new or exciting, but your last mile connection, it has to be diverse. It has to be, in order for uptime. And we're going to talk a little bit about, what those uptime percentages mean and why it is so important. So as companies have moved to a gig fiber circuit or 300 meg cable circuits, have they given a lot of thought to whatever their backup is? If they have one, most customers have one, is that keeping lock and step with what their internet needs are in case of a failover? And in a lot of ways, they aren't. What we're seeing out there is a lot of competitors or companies that are offering that primary circuit, that they're also offering a pretty low cost, backup solution, kind of a bolt on. And we've seen lately is free backup internet, wireless, which, it's a pretty good easy button for you and your clients to hit. But you want to really look at what that wireless connection is. Is it diverse? Is it a technology that's going to support their current applications? So that's what's, really, really important to take a look at. So, obviously for LTE and 5G failover, it's not affected by wireline events. So a lot of times you talk about having an ISP outage, and ISPs are pretty reliable. It's not the highest percentage of an outage to a client is the ISP failure. Most of the time, it's a physical disruption, a backhoe fade, flooding, loss of power, building construction, things like that. And then obviously ISP downtime, but that's physical. So therefore, if you have physical, another terrestrial circuit going in, that's going through the same conduit as their primary. So that isn't a diverse path backup. So that's where wireless gets you in that building a different way. That is true diversity. It's not only a different carrier, it's a different path. So that's really, really key. that's, we talk about the uncuttable or unbreakable internet that your clients really need to, make sure that their cloud apps and their point of sale and their phones and their digital security is up and running all the time. So just kind of, when we talk about uptime, what does that mean in dollars, or how do you talk to customers about either switching from a free backup or a really low cost backup solution, or not having a backup solution? How do you justify that added expense? A backup solution is insurance. It's plain and simple. It's insurance. You hope you don't need it, but you really need it if your primary is down. So how do you cost justify that to a customer? And if you look really at some average lost revenue figures of, being down and not having internet down, your internet downtime, it's pretty remarkable. So, and these are old figures. So these are from 2016, Cisco and App Dynamics. These are those figures. So I'm very confident they're much higher than that now, because of, where the revenue is and customers' businesses. But it really ranges from $8,000 to $75,000 per hour that a business can lose if they're down for whatever reason. So, and that can be a small office to a large office. And that downtime or that loss of revenue can come from anything from employee productivity to lost customers, lost sales, all kinds of ramifications from that. So, and that's where that kind of range comes in. But if you're looking at just taking the minimal, if you have an uptime of 99.99% with your current ISP or your current solution, then you're not, you're going to be down maybe an hour that year, right? Doesn't seem like a ton, but that's really 75,000 or $8,000 for a year for a small business. That's on the low end. So to have a good solid backup solution that costs you under $1,000 for that site, and that's on the high side for that year, is a pretty easy ROI to be up all the time. And, for that comparative to a larger client, looking at staring down, just being out an hour can cost them $65,000, $70,000 for the year. To pay $100 a month or a couple $100 or whatever it is, $60 a month, that pays for itself very, very quickly. So those are good conversations that we've had with clients to really, talk about backup, why it's needed, but then also to discuss which backup is really best. What applications do you need to back up? So just I've been doing this a very long time, and Tom could say the same thing. We used to have to actually kick people in the shins to talk about wireless before wireless was really, mainstream as far as a solution. But in the beginning, when we talked about wireless in 2015, most customers were running on a 50 meg circuit, and that was solid. They all were good on 50 megs. That was plenty. So we were selling, a 10 to 15 meg wireless circuit. And we made it work really well, better than the others. And that was great. That was sufficient. The customers don't have a 50 meg circuit now. They have 300 megs or a gig circuit. So that's where we want to talk about is that backup solution has to keep up, has to keep in lock and step with their applications in case of a failover. So Bo, I'm going to introduce Bo Barker, our VP of Tech, to really talk about kind of why all wireless is not created equal and the solutions that BroadSky have and why it's different, and where wireless is right now. It's pretty exciting. So, Bo?
Thank you, Maureen. And good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. I want to talk about some of the wireless technologies. So we have 3 advanced wireless technologies that we'll be talking about today. Just a brief kind of summary. We'll have a good comparison with the single carrier Lte Pro, better and best. And if you look at those numbers down there, those are real world speeds that we've documented. These aren't max theoretical, which are much, much higher. This is actually what we're seeing in the real world based on information from the three major carriers. So we'll just dive right into to the good scenario first. So good. We've talked a lot about our gold standard and kind of where we start in class of modems or the technology behind the LTE modem. So for today's webinar, we really want to focus on the upper end of that spectrum. So what would be a good connection from LTE? That would be something like an LTE Pro, which is often termed as like a Cat 18 modem, which is capable of taking a single carrier SIM. We obviously in all of our units have that ability to add a second SIM in, either active or inactive, depending on the scenario. But really the radio itself, the modem, is a single carrier modem. It's locking one carrier at one time. It's bonding multiple frequencies. So just to kind of roll back a little bit, there was a big news, big hustle bustle about the C-band auction and the carrier spends on those auctions. This is what they're buying. They're buying frequency or spectrum. And the more that they have, the more they can layer in, the more the tower broadcasts, and the more these modems can pick up on, and that equals higher speeds, lower latency. So with that single carrier LTA Pro modem, in the real world, we're seeing 60 to 120 megs down, 10 to 20 megs up. And that's bonding up to 4 of those frequencies being broadcast from that single carrier. Next up, we have something just a little bit better. So here we're looking at still a single carrier, still bonding multiple frequencies from that carrier, but we're kicking it up a notch. We're taking it to the next level. The newer hardware that we're releasing that we have available, and we'll do a slide on that here towards the end of my segment, is a combination of a 4G LTE Pro modem plus a 5G mid-band spectrum modem. So not only did we see an upgrade in that LTE Pro category, we're now up to category 20 modem for LTE or 4G. That modem itself can now bond or aggregate 7 different signals or frequencies from the carrier. And what's really cool is we're seeing more upload frequency bonding occurring. So this modem on standard LTE can do three frequency bonding. And we're really seeing those increased speeds both on the download and upload side. And keep in mind, this is a combo radio. This is a future-proofed radio for today's 5G network, which is really sub-6. There's 2 flavors of 5G, and part of it is non-standalone networks, which is kind of where we are today, meaning that to connect to the 5G network, the modem first has to connect to the LTE 4G network, and then we'll start to provision 5G frequency in. This will eventually move to a standalone network where the modem will automatically lock on to 5G initially, and it won't fall back to 4G unless something happens to 5G, just as we saw with 3G to 4G failover, failback in modems. And then that sub-6 gigahertz versus millimeter wave. So there's really a lot of differences here. But we're really excited to see the release of this higher category plus 5G mid-band spectrum modem and the results that we're seeing out in the real world. And then we'll move into kind of the best in class. How can we get the maximum speeds out of a modem?
Hey, Bo, I just want to say too, this better, which we're super stoked about, and it's, really the first on the market. We're going to have pricing for that out today. So hit your channel managers up for that. So pretty exciting. So
awesome.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So best, what would be a best case scenario for those high speed fiber circuits or a standalone LTE modem for like large events and things like that? Maureen will be showing some use cases there that we've seen great success with. But what we have here now is really what we've been marketing this for a while, but with the advent of these 5G radios, these combo 5G, 4G radios, we're now able to present some different options, bonding up to 4 separate carrier SIMs, and that can be a mix and match combo. That could be 2 from one carrier, 1 and 1 from the others, whatever serves best for the given area that's being deployed in. But now we have this option where this unit can do anywhere from 4G LTE advanced to advanced pro, and now 5G. So you could have 4 combo radios running Cat 20 or that Lte Pro 4G and 5G combos running simultaneously. So we're bonding anywhere from 2 to 4 carriers into a single pipe. If you think about it in terms of SD-WAN, there's an endpoint. So all this traffic is flowing to that endpoint, and it creates that unbreakable internet, not only through carrier diversity, but this frequency bonding. So we're seeing real world speeds in the 80 to 400 megabits per second. That's really dependent on where you are. And upload speed still in that 15 to 50 megabits per second. I will say I use this technology at my home office frequently for testing purposes, and I'm not in the best signal area. I'm not in a major metro. Bend, Oregon is not certainly not a huge metropolis. And typically before the release of this new technology, I was getting about 50 megs down and 30 to 40 up. Now I'm seeing speeds closer to 200 down and 50 up. So a huge improvement with the new technology. And this is probably, the next slide up is probably the one I'm most excited about today, the actual hardware. So as Maureen said, the carriers have been pounding the table and saying 5G's here, 5G's here, and it is in some areas on the millimeter wave. We're seeing all these amazing speeds in major cities on certain street corners. Obviously, that's going to expand over time. The carriers bought more spectrum. They're going to be doing more with this mid-band spectrum than ever before. So these speeds will start to go up and up. But the hardware is available to order today. So the 5G radios in these devices are, they can do up to 2.1 gigabits per second theoretical on the download and 300 megabits per second on the upload. And then it also is that combination 5G LTE Advanced Pro radio. So on the 4G LTE side, it can do 600 down, 150 megs up. So we have some really good, I think, really good aggressive pricing on these units, and we're hoping to kind of have the agent and partner community help us drive 5G out to the market. It is here now for enterprise, and we've been testing and vetting this hardware for some time and had great success. Just a note on the hardware, the upper image there, that's a great mobility type piece of hardware. It does have Wi-Fi. I believe it's 802.11ac for those that like the Wi-Fi spec. And as you can see, there are multiple ports for the antennas. These higher end modems do require more than 2 antennas now for spectral efficiency and diversity. So what you're seeing there is that single radio unit with the combo of 4G, 5G, one WAN, one LAN, and some serial port communication and power there. Also new to that model is the USB-C ports, where you can provide power to the device through USB-C or connectivity through those ports. Down below is a little bit more of a branch router, and that unit is it obviously has some one WAN, some LAN ports, has some SFPs for fiber. And what's really cool about that is you have your console port for out-of-band management built in. So kind of an all-in-one unit, future-proofed. And with that, I will turn it back over to Maureen for some use cases and additional information.
Great, thanks, Bo. Yeah, it's we are on the geekier side and think everything wireless is cool, but at the same time, there's so much going on. So with wireless, and we've been well steeped in it, and from where we sit, Broad Sky always really wants to kind of be the thought leader, but also the industry leader in technology to make sure that we're testing and vetting and providing you really with the best technology for your clients. So we just talked a lot about why you need wireless for failover and why the type of wireless really matters for that solution, by where the technology has come and what uh, the offerings are. But we also want to talk about, because the performance of wireless, the diversity, the ease of deployment, the speed, the latency, it powers all these applications that can be offered or used for other things other than failover. So we are, utilizing it for primary for certain customers. We're using it for temp deployments, and mobile connectivity are some of the kind of leaders lately, particularly this year, since so many clients have really had to kind of pivot their business to stay competitive and deal with, last year's, changes with the pandemic. But kind of three really solid use cases that we have customers doing over and over again that utilize these latest technology of wireless because their bandwidth needs are heavy. Our construction is one for sure. Temporary internet for really remote work sites. Why construction? Well, they're never on an address, almost never. So that's really hard for them to get a primary circuit. They have really fluctuating deadlines, or I would have to say, job time. Sometimes they're there for 3 months, sometimes they're there for a year. All those things really require flexibility, but also performance. So they need ultra fast internet, really for their cloud applications. What we find with construction is they're pushing a lot of CAD files. They're doing a lot of video conferencing. They have a lot of, workers in and out. So it really fits the bill for construction. We can turn these up very quickly. They actually can be moved to other job sites. So we have many construction companies that will utilize it for one job site, take it to the next. If we have to change carriers to optimize that, we can do that. So that's kind of the beauty of the performance and the flexibility. So pop-up retail. So that's really big. As the retail's taken a big hit this past year because of the pandemic. So, businesses, retail businesses have had to be more creative and how to really get to their clients without, mall traffic or, people in stores and things like that. And pop-up retail was already growing prior to, but has really ramped up. Where they'll do pop-up retail at events or in certain locations to really kind of drive their brand, drive awareness, but it's not a permanent facility. So they need internet. So temp internet for pop-up stores, and stores within stores is another one that I'll talk about. But so pop-up retail, they need power. It needs to power their POS. That's the key, is they have to be able to take credit cards. They have to be able to take money. They have to be able to access their inventory system if they want to stream media or music or whatever. Why pop-up retail? It installs in days instead of months. So we can turn these up really quickly. Doesn't need any wires. They do need power, but other than that, they can put it wherever they want. And it's PCI compliant. It's easy to move connectivity to the next project. So we have those too. We have customers that roll our bonded solution to a store opening and then roll it to the next one. So that's really big. Talking about stores within a store. So there's so many businesses that operate within another business, if you think about it. And after all security issues, and I know you've dealt with them with your clients, they have to be really cognizant of security on their network. They don't want anybody else on their network. Steve, I always use the example of a grocery store. If you go in a grocery store and you walk 30 feet in that grocery store, you usually walk past 4 other businesses operating in that, at least 4, operating in that store. And that store, Ralph's or Kroger or wherever, does not want to allow any of those businesses on their internet. So you walked past a red box, you walked past a Coinstar, you walked past an ATM of some bank, you walked past, some freezer. Those are all businesses within that grocery store, and they all have to have internet to run. And so those are all done by 4G almost. So those are other connectivity that, we can provide for stores within stores. There's banks within, other malls or events or businesses. There's restaurants in an airport. There's a long list of businesses within businesses. So that's a real growing field. And lastly, mobile healthcare. So mobile healthcare was starting to take off in the beginning or before the pandemic, but it's really exploded now, just for the need of taking healthcare to really where the people are for multiple reasons, whether it's safety or it's efficiency or lack of facilities. So mobile in healthcare we've done operated pop-up tents for, either vaccines or testing. They have mobile healthcare trucks or vans that go to a community and provide, a healthcare clinic pop-up. All of those, they need a lot of bandwidth to look at X-ray files, access patient information, have teleconferencing. So that need for high bandwidth has really exploded in mobile healthcare. So that's another one where it's not just for backup, it's for their primary, and it really fits the bill. So wanted to just give some food for thought on those, and then to kind of wrap it up with, we talked about the gold standard in wireless. That's kind of our stamp that we go to, and it's really revolves around engineering excellence. That's where we start our solutions. It's really engineering driven. It's not, just trying to fit whatever we have into somebody. We want to understand what the solution is and engineer towards that. So, the solutions designed today are for fast speed, low latency, highest quality signal. Our taglines, we make wireless work. We kind of live and breathe that every day. And our gold standard really is rapid deployment. We can deploy these on an expedite if the order's in on a regular order, and order's in before noon or 11, we can ship it that day. Our standard deployments usually take 1 to 3 days to ship. Those are just standard. So we are a multi-carrier provider. So we are going to load on the best carrier at each location based on that location. So, because we want the best performance. Not all carriers are created equal everywhere. So we load every router as a dual SIM on every deployment, active, inactive. We have an active option for a small additional charge for that, for another piece of insurance, which is great. We always use the latest equipment. We want to, really present the latest equipment if needed and have that as we want to really fit that solution to what the needs of the client are. So we're very proactive in data management. So we have data analysts that report on our customers for data. And, if you're trending to go over, then we alert. So we're going to give you that opportunity to change your plan that month. And, or if those needs change going forward, to really minimize those costs. We are not a company that the costs, we get all excited when there's a bunch of overages. We actually really try to work with our clients to avoid that. And data manage, that's what our data management team, and we also offer cross-carrier data pooling. So for multi-site clients on a term, 2 or 3 year term, we offer pooled pricing, which really maximizes their usage, minimizes their cost, and it doesn't matter what site is on what carrier are using. So it's very seamless to the client, very easy for you. So that's a big advantage. And then we have, bundled solutions with a zero CapEx upfront, which is very attractive to clients. So with that, that's every solution that we offer is our gold standard, and we're very proud about that. I wanted to kind of move to just the map of who your channel manager is. If you're not connected with a channel manager, you can reach out and get you connected. We will share this presentation in an email to all the attendees. We will post it on our YouTube channel. And I really encourage you to follow up with your channel manager. I want to go to question and answer now and chat, any chat. So you can do either Q&A or chat. And we're going to go, Bo and I are going to go through these one by one and answer. But wanted to thank you again for joining us. We really love doing these, and if you have any suggestions on topics, then let us know, and we'd love to work those in. So Steve, is there an updated downtime cost study from the 2016? You know, that's a good question. I don't know. I should look into that because I'm certain that those costs are higher than that. Like that's a lowball estimate. So that's a great question. So we'll find out there. And Peter, what do we see for realistic latency on the good, better, best options? That's a great question. We actually do very well on latency, but I'm going to let Bo answer that because he's the VP of Tech.
Yeah, so the latency's certainly gone down over time. I would say that the mean averages that are out there in the real world today are 40 to 60 milliseconds. So, you know, very much sub 100 or real time. And that will only improve as 5G gets transitioned over to a standalone network. Then we'll get to see some of those promised, you know, sub 10 millisecond latency readings. But yeah, 40, 60, good averages today.
Great. Bill, this is a good presentation. Would you like to share some of the content in a marketing campaign? Is this content available on your partner portal, or can you share the slide deck? Yes. Thank you for that compliment. And yes, this deck will be shared or be able to be shared, and then also we'll have a recording. So you get both. So I think the deck will be in SlideShare, and that link will be sent out with the follow-up. So thank you. Lori, you have a client interested now. Fantastic. Where are you, Lori? I should know that. Anyways, so if you're looking at the screen now, find your channel manager in your region. We have Jim Miller in the Northwest. We have Amy Eschleman in Southern California. We have Scott Sharples in the Southwest, so Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. We have Ash Kikish in the Midwest, and then we have Todd Holzenbach in the Southeast. And we are actually filling a spot for channel manager in the Northeast. So if you need something in the Northeast, you can contact me and I'll get someone to help you out. So, so we can help you right away with that. Great. Are these available for month-to-month type service without term contract? So these solutions BroadSky offers month-to-month, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year with almost all of their solutions. So you can pick and choose. Obviously, it's more advantageous to do a longer term. The upfront is usually nothing or less, depending on what the solution is. If it's the bonded solution, obviously that's a more robust solution. But yes. Let's see, is 5G hardware pricing and equipment available now? So yes, 5G hardware pricing is available today. It will be out, I believe, later on today, and your channel managers can get that to you. We have the 5G equipment on order, and I believe it's shipping. I want to say, I thought it already shipped, but I've been told that now it's going to ship in April, but we can already talk about those solutions. I actually am lucky enough to be testing it here in Los Angeles, and it's great. So yeah, we have pricing, and we will have equipment deployed soon. So we are first on the market with that. Next question, how long does failover take to deploy, like a lead time? So like I said, our average deployment on our good or our better solutions would be like 1 to 3 days shipping. If it's a larger order, 5 or more, then obviously that's going to take a little more time. And for larger deployments, we actually like to have those project management calls to see when you want it. Do you want it all at once? Do you want it, in sections? So very flexible. I have to say, our team does not like to have orders sit around. They, as soon as it comes in, they are on it. So last question, or another question, do you have unlimited plans? So we do have some speed plans available. It really depends on your definition of unlimited, so it's a little tricky. That's a good marketing term. So we do have some speed plans that are unlimited, so to speak, is basically they have a threshold of usage. And once that threshold is reached, it can be throttled. So technically you can say it's unlimited because you aren't charged overage, but those are a little tricky. They can be much more cost advantageous from a per gig standpoint. However, it's a little bit like, depending on how you want to use it, it'd be like driving your car 70 miles an hour all month until like, the 20th, and then you can only go 15. So you really want to make sure you understand the application utilizing those, and those are carrier specific plans. So yes, we do have them, but I would really encourage you working with your channel manager to make sure that, you're really talking through the solution. Because oftentimes a lot of companies we run against have unlimited plans and really don't need that much data. So they're actually overpaying for what they need. So those are good discussions to have. Cindy, how do you size your service? I've been handed a price sheet, but I don't know how to size it and understand speed and not total usage. So that is another discussion. It's a little tricky. We can't really say what your customer uses in usage. We can give some suggestions. Somebody using light VoIP, some email, a web app or two can use maybe 5 gigs a month. But if a customer allows for streaming or allows their customers to sync their phones or has, video going or at the same time or whatever, so it can kind of vary. But that is a discussion to have with your channel manager to kind of walk through that, to kind of at least get a good idea of that. And then two, are flexible with our solutions. So I've had clients that start with a 30 gig plan, and then they need more. So we can upgrade them to a 50 gig plan. So really we can change that. Or they needed a 30 gig plan in the beginning because they were running on primary, and then they got their primary in, they need it for backup. So you can downgrade for a backup solution. So we're very easy to work with on that. Let's see. Zachary, how are you, Zachary? What would pricing look like on some of the higher end products or throughput? If you're getting upwards of a few hundred megs, would be using hundreds of gigs. Yes, it is more expensive. So those are in the past. We're trying to get away from what we call them our bandwidth aggregation dedicated as a service, or badass product, which I love that name and everybody likes to say it, but we're kind of getting away from that. But the bonded solutions it's a heavier piece of equipment as far as cost. And so those are higher, and people tend to chew through more data with those. So we have some ranges. So we have, bonded solutions with 2 carriers, but we've priced them in 5 gig, a couple $100 all the way up to thousands of dollars. It really kind of varies. So I would say work with your channel manager on that one on costs as well. But those are, obviously as technology grows, it costs more. That's a thing. I'm really excited about our new 5G pricing for this initial unit. We've kept it very reasonably priced because, as you know, early adopters or early technology is not cheap. And so these 5G modules and routers that are coming out by other providers are not going to be the same price uh, as current equipment, because it's a newer technology, and that is just how that goes. So this first run, I'm really excited that we're keeping it a very reasonable cost, and we have the equipment to do that. And then as you kind of go up the food chain in needs, if you need the branch router, if you need, the bonded solution. So, but work with your channel manager. Let's see. So currently, Mark, question, will you ever be able to pay commissions on overages? So, that question's come up. We don't pay commissions on overages, but that's one of the sole reasons, and I understand concerns with partners. We've talked about that, but that is one of the reasons why we're so proactive, obviously, to make we want to make it advantageous and not, onerous to the customer by upgrading their plans. But also, if we do upgrades for our clients, that's a plan. So that's a plan that we pay commissions on. So that's why we're very proactive to our client, your clients and our clients to, hey, this is what your usage is going to be this month. You should do an upgrade to save you money. And then also, I don't tell them that, but on the back end, I understand that the partners get paid. So that's really how we solve that problem, Mark. And I understand it's been a concern of yours, but we really try to make it easy and proactive to upgrade those plans, because you upgrade a plan, that's what you get paid. So we're happy to do that. So let's see, are there any, I think I'm going back to Q&A here. Bo, you can jump in anytime. So, John, do you use Cradlepoint in your design? Yes, absolutely. So I would say probably we're about 50% Peplink, 50% Cradlepoint. We utilize both, and it really depends on the solution. For this presentation, we highlighted Peplink because they're really first to market with actually an actual 5G router out. So that's why we highlighted it in here. Cradlepoint is on their way, but we haven't. Oh, we don't have those to test? We're still waiting to get ours to test.
Yes, Cradlepoint's still working on carrier certification for those 5G units.
So yes, we utilize Cradlepoint all the time where needed, and Peplink where needed. That's why we don't want to really kind of pick one pony. And we're also always, testing and bench testing other routers out there so we're not missing anything, because we want to really provide the best solution for the clients. So, but for this purposes, Peplink kind of made it over the line first. And so that's why they were highlighted in here. Let's see, do I have any other questions, or did I get them all? I think I might have gotten them all.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think you got them all, Maureen.
Okay, great. So, I really appreciate everybody joining and hanging on these. We really like doing these. Like I said, any feedback that you have for future ones, I will tell you for next month, we're very excited to do POTS replacement, which we launched over a year ago, our POTS replacement product, but we're relaunching it, and it'll be better than ever, better priced, better product, everything. So really excited. So tune in next month for our POTS replacement webinar. So that's going to be pretty exciting. But anything else you'd like to see on here, please give any feedback to us, because that's what we're looking for. And reach out to your channel managers. They're dying to talk to you. And they're very knowledgeable, whether it is for our wireless solutions, or now we have opportunities for IoT and AI solutions for you as well. So a lot to offer here. We're here to help. So thank you, Bo, very much.
Yes, thank you. Thanks everybody for joining today.
Thank you.